Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today once again with our monthly gold update for the June 2025. Now, it's been quite some time since we've done this because the last time I made an update for May, it was actually in the middle of the month when I was away on vacation. So, gonna get you guys up to speed. We also have some slightly alarming news as well in terms of where the gold is trending. So I'm going to bring you guys up to speed here in terms of what's going on with that, and hopefully we can keep a close eye and manage in accordance of that. But just as a quick recap for those of you that haven't seen my videos before, I do this monthly update every single month, so I just wanted to give you guys a bit of overview before we jump into the month as well as what's happened in the first half of 2025. This really all started and originated in 2024 when we decided that we're going to be budgeting every single day, and how is that going to translate to the actions that we take in game. Remember, Marvel Strike Force is a budget resource management game, so how you do in that respect is going to allow you to have flexibility and the opportunity to pivot when there's new teams, new characters, new game modes being released. Are we able to keep up, and at the same time are we able to use budgeting to our advantage, and what are those savings? And yes, we were able to get the answers to those questions in the last year. Could we keep up with the meta and priorities and save gold at the same time? Yes, we actually did just that, and I got a quick little recap in terms of what we accomplished. How much gold are we actually spending completely free to play with no battle passes or strike passes? It translates to roughly 250 million to 300 per month. And then personally for myself, and I made this goal at the start of 2025, is that I want to be able to hit 1 billion gold completely free to play, and I'm well tracking that mark right now. And at the same time, what's scary, guys, is that I'm still able to build up my team successfully, what I need to do in terms of my arena, my raid priorities, and as well dabble in war and crucible when I am able to. But again, they're not my priority. It's the PvE and alliance aspect. So as a quick little overview here for 2024, these are all the numbers that we have summarized, right? You can see on the left side is essentially all the gold that we earned, all the gold that we spent, and then the net differential, what actually impacted our ending gold balance. This overview was allowed me to invest in teams and characters, and at the same time as well, we can actually see what happened in the later half of 2024 as well. But let me just give you a quick little snapshot here. With the spending and budget management, we were still able to land in the top 10 to 20 in arena, milking those 500 power cores per day. We unlocked every single legendary character initially, and that was Shadow King and Old Man Logan. Now, there was only 2 legendary characters, so not a great example. And so far in 2025, they've completely reshaped what they're doing with the legendary releases. It's guaranteed essentially for just engagement, so that's been massive. I was still able to land the top 4,000 Mephisto unlock from Dark Dimension 7, top 3,200 in Odin Dark Dimension 8, and again, guys, I'm 100% free to play. No passes, no strike passes or battle passes or anything like that. Just management of resources and utmost patience and knowing when to spend resources and when not to. But what I do want to bring your attention to is in the later half of 2024, from June to December, and you can see highlighted in green here on my chart, is that they ramped up the gold. The earning came from additional events, other infusions in the game. Maybe they recurred and increased the frequency of the legendary events. That helped for sure. As you can see, it ramped up significantly. It was anywhere from 130 to 160 from January to May, and then all of a sudden in June, starting at 220, and then even going close to 300 million and above. So we got a huge infusion of gold, which allowed us to also spend more and offset that. And that kind of set the tone for later half of 2024 and now what we're seeing in 2025. And that's kind of what we want to pay attention to and keep track of, because when that starts to deviate, that's when we need to pivot and change our budgeting plan and kind of our approach to how we're saving, and at the same time, maybe the rate that we're investing in new teams and characters that are getting released, right? So Q1 2025 update here. I just made a quick little summary because I don't want to go through every single month. We've done that in the past videos, but that's just gonna be too much information in one shot. So you can see here, January we're 272, February 286, and March 329. So exactly where we kind of left off from the final half of the 2024, right? Because you can see the trend has still been north of that 250 to 300 million range, and that gives us an average almost here of 300 million gold per month. Absolutely massive, because from our budgeting plan anyways, with the golden opportunity milestone that did exist, we were spending 6 million gold per day, which allowed us to do some easy math in terms of how we're actually spending. Now, let's go into the individual monthly breakdown now all the way into June. April 2025, as you can see, my March balance was 739. And again, just a simple format, but my budgeting was always 6 million gold per day. The golden opportunity allowed me to track that quite easily. And then any additional investment, which you saw there with Vigilante, we poured additional resources into them. That translates to what we actually spent and giving us that net increase of what we actually earned. So I like to add other things too, like if, Shadow King, Logan Trials Return, Sword Satellite, Fallen Dimension, that gives us a sense of, oh, maybe that's why we got some additional gold infusion, and then the resulting difference is kind of what we're looking at, right? So you can see for April, we just continued where we left off in the first quarter. We earned 287 million gold, even though we spent a whopping 316 because of the fact that we need to build up Vigilante as soon as possible for raids. And that was massive, guys. And as you can see in the screenshots below here, my gold balance is still only going up even with that investment. And 6 million gold per day has still and remained one of the best kind of ways to budget. And at the same time, you're still able to invest. Now, it's not at the pace that some folks like. Maybe they like to dump 25, 30 million in one day into a single team or character. Well, that's still okay to do so. But now you just need to track it, because the golden opportunity, as you guys know, has actually ceased to exist now in the game. So for me, I've had to maintain this from a spreadsheet perspective, how much I'm actually spending, or before and after in terms of what we're doing that. So it's a little harder to track now. That's when we provide this mid-May update. As you can see, Shadow King, Chapter 1 Harbinger. We started April with 710 million gold, and I think 15 days in is actually close to when the golden opportunity milestone ceased to exist. So now it's harder to track, but we only spent 19 million because, again, it's the same math, right? 15 days multiplied by the 6, that gives you the 90. And then we ended mid-May with 731, as you see in the screenshot. So we only earned 111 million gold for 15 days in May. And that was kind of the start of my concern, right? Because you can see here, oh, my apologies, I didn't update the gold spending. But yeah, you can see here, my concern was really, is this trend continuing? Maybe it was just like, because of the fact that we caught the halfway point of the month, maybe this is actually not, fully showing us the detail here. But now that brings my attention here to June, because now we have the rest of June and as well the 16 days that was missed in May. And now you can see kind of what's happening here in terms of what's going on with the overall spending here. So we had Shadow King Quasar Trials, great. Chapter 1 Harbinger, so they've been recurring this over and over. And we started the mid-May balance with 731. We still ended up with 844 million gold, as you see down in the screenshot below. However, when you add that all up now in the yellow here, we only actually earned 388 million gold in 46 days. And then you divide that by the 2 months here that we take a look at from May and June, that's only 249 million per month. That is a significant drop off, guys, from the 287, from the average of 300 million gold almost for the first 3 months. So that's kind of my concern right now. I'm keeping a close eye on this, and I want to bring this to your guys' attention, but we could very well potentially be seeing a gold shift or a potential nerf. And that's why we need more information, right? It's only been a month and a half to 2 months that we see this weakness in the market. And maybe they're not factoring that in right now. Maybe because of them not using the golden opportunity to track, maybe they're starting to think that we wouldn't, be able to track this. But for me, I've done this for over a year plus now in terms of gold. So that's why I know it does seem like there's going to be a sentiment changer. And I want to bring that to your guys' attention, because our game plan may not have changed, but it means that we may need to be more careful now if gold is a little bit more scarce. So just something to be mindful of. So gonna still continue where we left off. We're still gonna continue spending 6 million gold per day, or if you like to track it easier from a monthly perspective, roughly 180 million per month continues to build that gold supply for new teams and events. And we know Fantastic Four is around the corner, so definitely something to be mindful of there. Gold economy is still strong, early 2025, but starting to show a little bit of weakness right now. And again, I want to reiterate that resource management is really the key to success in this game, because even if we go back now to my original 2024 summary, right, we haven't earned 250 million gold since July and August of last year. So I'm hoping it's an anomaly. Maybe it's just a little blip. We saw last year May and June did tend to be a little bit lower. Maybe we're seeing something similar, but in the meantime, guys, I'm going to keep this up to date. I'm going to keep tracking every month. And again, it's a little bit more trickier to track now because there isn't the golden opportunity. However, I wanna definitely prioritize this, because this is something I'm passionate about, and I love to relay this information back to you guys, so you're also aware of how to spend gold in the game and invest in those characters, obviously, at the end of the day. That's in a nutshell, guys. Let me know what you think, comments below. I'll be back with more updates if there's anything significant. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.